Hello everyone, it is Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. If you're looking for TCG codes, the Poketown store's got you covered. You can even use the code OmniPoke for an extra 5% discount on your orders. For today's video, we're going to be looking at the very interesting Blacephalon build that we saw make top 16 at Knoxville, combining it with Airmail. Pidgeotto finally working for people trying to take prizes and trying to use this draw engine effectively to get towards combo pieces. As we know, Blacephalon's Fireball Circus makes us discard fire energies from our hand, so using Pidgeotto to help us get towards Fiery Flints, Fire Crystals, and of course Welders throughout the game is going to be a really nice sort of backup engine that we can rely on, so we don't just lose to things like Reset Stamp, which is pretty much the biggest criticism behind the greens-based build of Blacephalon that we've seen recently. So let's dive a little bit deeper into this build, starting off with 3 copies of Stellar Wish Jirachi. Obviously, it's a fantastic card if ever you're able to lead this guy. He can help you Stellar Wish towards your opening Welders and also your opening Elms. Very often, you don't go for the turn 1 Welder in this deck. You're much more satisfied with going for Elms early on, because once you set up your Pidgeotto loop, it's very easy, especially when you're up against tag team based decks, to just chain 2 knockouts with your Blacephalon. It can literally be a game of 2 attacks if you're up against things like Pikarom, Mewtwo, and a few other tag team decks out there as well, things like Guardian and such. This can be as simple as that, so you have time on your hands. You can really do whatever you want, Elm a couple times, make sure you're stamp proof, any greens deck that you're up against. You just want to get your Pidgey army down. Once that's established, you basically can't lose the game. So Stellar Wishing towards that early Elm is obviously a huge deal, and also like throughout the mid game, you're going to try and get an Escape Board on this guy so that you can access things like Fiery Flint and Fire Crystal to help close the game as well, because we're all based on dumping a bunch of fires from our hand. That's the whole sort of basis around the deck, and that's because of this Fireball Circus attack, the main one that we use for Blacephalon, for 3 fires, so Welder and Attach, 50 times the amount of fire you discard from your hand. So as mentioned, Fiery Flint is effectively 200 damage for us, Fire Crystals are effectively 150 damage for us, so trying to accumulate these for power spike turns is a really big deal. Blacephalon, obviously a very nice powerhouse card that has, in theory, infinite damage output. When we play this amount of fires, we can really get away with huge numbers. We then have some backup attackers. One is the Victini Prism Star. Infinity means that we can reload all of our fire energies so we don't run out, especially important in non-GX matchups. It gives us a 5th non-GX attacker in the first place, but it means that we won't run out of energies, which is a really big deal. And in general, you can, pick up things like Dedenes and stuff on your opponent's side of the field and quite easily go for Infinity. It really gives us a bit of relief if there are those turns where you aren't able to find like a combination of Fire Crystals to get a big knockout with Fireball Circus. You have the Victini to fall back on. We also have the Heatran-GX. Burning Road can come in, steal a bunch of energies that you have around your board for whatever reason. Sometimes Blacephalons aren't taken out. Think about things like the Mewtwo matchup, where sometimes they'll go for an Espeon Deoxys play and try and knock out all your Pidgeottos at once. Or a few other decks if they're trying to gust up other stuff and try and hurt your draw engine instead of trying to knock out your active. You can heavily punish that by just going Burning Road, second Welder Attach, hit 300 again. So yeah, the card's pretty insane. Again, it's like a 5th attacker that we have, a 6th attacker that we have in the deck as well. Just so, again, we don't run out of Blacephalons when we're up against other non-GX matchups. So this card is definitely worthwhile, and it offers the only GX attack that we have in the deck. We then have a 4/4 line of Pidgeotto. As I've already mentioned, try and establish this guy so you are stamp proof, and in general gives you just more pushing power to get towards your power spike cards. Realistically, the only cards that matter to us are like the 4 Welders, the 4 Crystals, and the 4 Fiery Flints. That's really about it. So filtering through all the consistency cards to help you get to those cards is important. So like just in general, ML a bunch, stamp proof, and hit your power spike cards essentially. So yeah, that's it for Pokemon. We then have, like I said, Fiery Flint being a huge aspect of this deck, discarding 2 other cards from your hand, whilst getting 4 fires straight out of the deck. Obviously great deck thinning for us. It makes your Jirachi way more live, and it just lets all your Airmails be way stronger, whilst also accessing, Welder searchability, or sorry, like usability, as well as just being damage for the Circus. Fire Crystal, obviously ridiculous value, 150 damage in a card. Pokégears to help us get towards these supporters, custom catchers so we can try and win in the least amount of attacks possible, and take out GXs. We have the Heat Factory, obvious synergy with the deck with this many fire energies. 3 Ultra Space, which can only get your Blacephalon, but this is normally the thing you want to welder onto, so having access to plenty of these is important in a chain, especially because you only have 120 hit points. They're going to go down very, very easily, so making sure you have your next one ready to go is important. The 4 of Elms just works so well with Pidgeotto, and the Welder, of course, to get all of our attackers running. Double Escape Board is the only switching option we have in the deck, but it's important to note for Jirachi most importantly, but also works quite easily on things like your Pidgeottos if you need them to, especially because it plays around Absol if you Escape Board a Pidgeotto, because they're obviously evolved. And then we just play 14 Fire to round things out. There's not too much else I would really expect to put in this list. I remember when Blacephalon first came out, there were definitely builds that were just Jirachi based. I remember going to a League Cup with just a 4 Jirachi, 4 Blacephalon, and a Victini, and I think I played like an Oranguru as well. Sort of build similar to this. The only reason why I feel that's less viable now is that we don't have Guzma, we have custom catchers instead. So it feels like you need to accumulate a hand a little bit better than back then. Also, Oranguru was like a better disruption proofing card than Pidgeotto is, especially because Stamp wasn't a thing back then. So it feels like we've had to sort of up the game and have Pidgeottos for a bit of extra protection from your hand. In terms of trainer cards you could try and work in, things like switches could be decent. Also, just having like 1 or 2 copies of B-String, also very reasonable. So it means you can have a bit of respite from needing to find a welder turn by turn to use Fireball Circus. As I said though, there's a lot of tag teams in the meta right now, so we can try and capitalize on that with some huge Blown knockouts. So that's going to be it, guys. We're going to jump into some games and see how Bird Blowns performs. Definitely cool to see this engine work for more than just controlling decks that are trying to get big combos in their hand. We're now trying to use combos for big damage instead, which is very cool. I do think the Pidgeotto build compared to the Greens build, I think it has a slightly worse Malamar matchup naturally, because spell tags dealing with things like your Pidgeottos so effectively is very awkward. So I think naturally you are taking a slightly bigger loss to Malamar, and I also think that Mewtwo can be sketchy because of your reliance on Pidgeotto with this list. So do take that with a pinch of salt, but I think in general you're so much more stamp proof against every other matchup that it kind of outweighs the fragile nature of Pidgeotto. I'm going to start off with a mulligan. And here we go. We have a Jirachi as well as a Pokégear. Not too shabby right now. We're not in panic stations just yet, but we are hoping that the Pokégear at the very least hits. Looks like we're up against an Ability Zard. I think one of the only decks that still plays Vulpix is Ability Zard. We'll kick things off with a Gear. I want to have 2 bites of the cherry to get a Elm here. Looks like we whiff on the first one, which is a bit awkward. Let's try our best. Okay, just a Welder. Now, we are allowed to weld to other things because we do play that Heatran, so I think I will be weldering to this Pidgey here. We pick up another Pidge. We'll save the welder for the energy for next turn, so I can welder again if I need to. Alright, looks like we're passing. We don't have great searchability for Heatran. Obviously we're not playing Cherish Ball or Dedenne or anything like that, so that is something to bear in mind. Our draw engine compared to most other welder decks is a little bit slower to build up because we need to find the Pidgeottos to get things rolling, but we'll see. Our opponent is going to com to get their own Heatran here rolling. Looks like they're going to go ahead and immediately welder to the big man. Might tell us that they have a switch in hand. They could always use a Hot Burn GX if they wanted to. If they have knowledge of the matchup, they can definitely just do the GX attack here. Yeah, that's what they're going to go for. They're going for a tempo Hot Burn GX. I think it's actually definitely the right play. Pretty smart move from them. Putting us in a bit of a pickle, that's for sure. Looks like we're weldering to another Pidgey. Which isn't great. Well, the same Pidgey, I should say. Man, we really don't get much here. We can play down cards to custom catcher for draw. But this is awkward, that's for sure. We're going to try and spread our threats around. I'm going to draw a card. Alright, that's a good card. That's also a good card. I'm going to do this. Yeah, the Blacephalon. We'll take the Blacephalon. We'll wish. Elm is decent, but do I need it to be better than Elm? Do I need to take the gear instead and take a risk? If we fall too far behind, we can't catch up, and they have a lot of non-GXs on their own end, so I'm not going to commit too heavily towards this. Alright, we'll just pass. So we'll be going 2 prizes down. I think my experience with this deck is you normally do drop a prize or 2 with the deck, and then you just catch up on whatever GXs you can eat up, basically. And the good news is their deck is pretty Dedenne based, so hopefully we can use our last customs to help us get there. They're actually benching a Reshizard, which really helps us out, like, so much. That's insane. Oh wow, they're actually the Ninetales Mewtwo deck by the looks of things. Even more tag teams hitting the field. This is what we needed to come back into this game. We need to see some tag teams hitting the board, because Blacephalon has a field day against them. Alright, they're Steaming Stomp. Like I said, they're 2 prizes up now. Our draw engine isn't really established just yet. We actually pick up an Elm, which is decent. I'll start off with an ML here. Ooh, that's a big deal. That definitely gives us something to do. So I come in with Heatran, kill this. Then he comes in, kills us back with Flare Strike. He'll be at 2. I can kill this, go down to 1, then he'll be at 1. Okay, so we can use Heatran pretty happily. So I think we'll Elm then, and hold off on the gear. I just want to develop birds. Looks like we've prized 2 of our Pidgeottos, which isn't great. We do have our other 2 customs in the deck, which is good. We've also only... Wow. Okay. Yeah, because we've spent 2 Welders already. Yikes. And we've prized our Palpad, so we really have to be careful. 2 big prizes to take would be Pidgeotto and that Palpad, I think, for next turn. I guess this gives us more chances. We've only got 1 Welder in there, but we got to go for this. So I'm also going to bench this Blacephalon, I think. Get 1 energy on him. I think it makes sense. Maybe I should just... Let's start with this and then decide. I think I kind of want it more so on the Victini as kind of a bait. I should just keep energies in hand, you know? Yeah, whatever. We should just keep the energies in hand. Alright, so Palpad would be huge, and any Pidgeotto is good. That's pretty much the worst one we could get. That's not great. Okay. Not the best prizes we could have taken. They just Palpaded their own Welders back in, so they've got a decent shot of getting those their own end. They give us Giant Hearth, which is great. It gets us thinning the deck even further towards this 1 Welder that we need to hit. At the same time, it gives us like 100 damage for the actual Fireball Circus as well, because currently we need to start finding more than just Welder. We also need to find Fire Crystals and Fiery Flints if we're going to be hitting the big 300 next turn. They're going to get a Ninetales down. See a Cherish Ball. Going to see the Dede change. see them escape board their Ninetales real quick before the day change. They could have switched into their Ninetales as well, just to protect around missing a fire off their 6 cards, but... They're going to venture Jirachi, Pokégear for a Welder. They do have an energy, so not a problem for them. And they can go for that Flare Strike. So they're 2 attacks away, which means we need to win in 2 attacks ourselves. Which means we need a lot this turn. We need to find basically Fire Crystal and Welder. Basically. So we'll kick things off with one of these. That one of Welder. So at the moment we're at 150 damage, so yeah, it's literally a Fire Crystal and that one Welder is what we've got to find. We'll do the MLs first. Flint is very good. Trying to thin as much as we can. Two big Pokégears. Okay. We don't have good odds. We're like 30% odds or so. Oh, Pog. Okay, let's get him. Let's go. And let's hit Palpad off prizes too. We've accumulated 30 damage in our hand. We've already played both boards, so we can't put down the Jirachi unless I want to put it down to play around a reset stamp, which I guess I could do. Alright, we're just 1 attack away now. Palpad? Oh, Welder. We prized Palpad and Welder? Okay, cool. That's even better. They are going to hit us with that reset stamp, so I'm glad I put down the Jirachi. We draw into a card that can draw us 3 cards, which is good. Able to Welder here to their Mew 3. They can obviously just use a Steaming Stomp to take another knockout here. And a Stellar Wish. We'll have 11, 14 in our discard pile, which is all of our energies. So the only access we have to energies is crystals. So we need to hit 3 crystals this turn, and the Welder. Which is asking a lot. Definitely asking a lot. Well, there's 1 Fire Crystal. Let's draw 2 cards. Oh my god. Please? It's a pretty insane start for us. Oh my god, we're going to do it. Don't call it a comeback. We have 12 cards in deck, and we get to C6. We need to find 1 Fire Crystal. And we have plenty in here. Oh, there we go. Pog. Unreal. Well, for how rough our start was, pretty pleased with that. We still had 1 ML to go. Not needed. Wow, that's pretty insane. Oh, where's the Pal Pad? Wait, am I not playing his 60? Give me a sec. I'm pretty sure he played Pal Pad. Have I made the wrong 60 here? If not, I'm putting a Pal Pad in straight away. Like mid-video, I'm putting a Pal Pad into this deck. Wow, he didn't play Pal Pad. Insane. Alright, I guess we'll stick with his 60. I was pretty sure he played Pal Pad, so I'm being crazy. Right, I need to be even more careful with my welders. Jeez, we got bailed out. Whoops. That whole game was just me saying, where's the Pal Pad that we don't play? Unreal. That's why you don't net deck. Make the list yourself so you know what's in it. Forehead. Right, let's get another game. So we basically had a 25% chance to lose on the spot when we had like one more welder in our 4 prizes and we were taking 3. So we got a little lucky, I guess you could say. Alright, this start still supporterless, but looks a little healthier. You always like to see early Fiery Flint. That can thin the deck pretty nicely. Makes our Stellar Wish way stronger. We're up against Mewtwo. We're going to go for a Flint out the gate. Have all of our crystals. We've prized 2 welders. Oh no. So we've got to make that damage count, that's for sure. This will be a fantastic time to find an Elm. Saying no to a welder feels weird, man. I think the Elm is way better for us here. Okay. I can't even play this to draw cards, because we only have 2. And if I put 3 on a Pidgey, he can just SBDO and kill Pidgey. No one look. Don't look at what I've just done here. No one look, okay? Don't tell anyone. Okay, that's worked out pretty okay. Okay. We're trying to rev that Heatran up, I guess. We would have to find our second welder for the Heatran to be good. But we'd also, like, we need welder no matter what, right? Definitely awkward. The Ultra Space gives him the free Naganadel-GX to discard. Him or her. I always say he whenever I'm on PTCGO. I guess it's law of averages, but there are a lot of girls that play PTCGO as well. Well, they didn't attach a Psychic Energy for turn, so the Pidgey's alive for a turn. Hooray. Nailed it. We're going to get a nice Dede change off here. Throwing away a bunch of stuff. Throwing away a Stamp early is good for us. As much as we're safer against Stamp, we still don't like to see Stamp. They're going to half for 2 more reds. And they're just going to Turbo Strike. Looks like they missed a real target to strike onto, which is really good for us, but at least the Dede becomes a pivot for them, I guess, now. We're going to take advantage of this Hearth. It is a great thing that so many other good fire decks are out there right now that we can make these sorts of plays quite happily. We're going to go for this airmail. It's another pretty bricky hand for us. We got to keep establishing energies, that's for sure. Looks like we're just going for a Blazer here. Ideally it's a fire, but I mean, if we find a Welder as well, it just tells us the prize to pick, so... Okay, nice. That cheapens Heatran and Blacephalon. But we're still very far away from finding that one-of Welder that's in the deck. I'm going to see a Giant Hearth from them. Got Cherish Ball as well. Cherish Ball must have been their top deck. I'm going to grab a Mewtwo. We are going to see another Welder. Stuff's going to go to the bench. Pretty reasonable, seeing as though they want to, well, they're able to Turbo Strike again. I'm going to see them replace their own stadium for a Labs. Is there Psychic Energy come down? Still not too concerned by an Espeon Deoxys. Yeah, they're just going to Turbo Strike. SPDO next turn would be super scary, so killing this guy would be ideal, but it's really unlikely when we've prized so many Welders. We'll see, we'll see. Man, I really want to play the Flint that we just drew. 3, 4, 5. So we'll have 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I guess I can. I guess we have to, just because of how weak the hand is. I'm just dead on my feet if I don't do this. Alright. Let's see it. 5, 6, 7. 140 at best. I can play 1, 2, 4 cards in hand, so even... I guess it's this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 12. So there's still 2 fires in the prizes. If I hit another 60, I guess hitting 140 is value. 20 plus 140. Still 10 off. I could find a way to discard another fire though. Pretty sure. This is looking rough though. Alright. Red. Oh no. I mean, that 10 is still value. It still makes the Blacephalon easier to kill. It makes us easier to kill it with Blacephalon, but this hand is pretty gross. Also running out of viable attackers, because he's been munching through the Blounds. Gonna see a Nincada from them. That obviously makes life more difficult as well. See a Reds challenge. So we're not getting wrecked by Welder Espeon Deoxys at least. But it's still not really good news that he's using a Reds here. Still probably got stuff up his sleeve. They'll be able to continue stacking a Mewtwo in the bench. They might have just used this to grab a Dedenne, to be honest. Not really sure what else they need, realistically. They're pretty much chilling. I'm just going to Turbo Strike. So we're way out of range of going for a Victini play for enough prizes to take a knockout, but I still think retreating Pidgey might be correct here. Just having the option to retreat the Pidgey. Alright, that custom's an awful draw. It's a lot of whiffs. We got no more Blounds in here. This is danger. Pretty sure we can't win from here. He can just win next turn, right, with Psychic Energy, Welder. I guess he's one off winning next turn officially. But he wins the game in so many ways. Oh, man. This kind of sucks. Let's hit him for what we can. Puts him in Blazer range. Man, this has been rough. A really rough game. I guess we did miss Elm off the Stellar Wish and the gear. And then all of our airmails since have not got us towards a supporter either. And we prized 2 Welders. I guess odds were pretty stacked against us. Just add insult to injury, the Shedinja's on board now. They're actually going to full heal here with Miraculous Duo, which I think is actually helpful for us. I think I'd be more afraid of basically anything else. You should have kept the option to Espeon Deoxys, probably. But regardless, I mean, he's so far ahead of us, it's unreal. I mean, I guess in theory I could. I don't even know what this needs to be. It needs to be so much. Well, we could hit him for 100. How many energies have gone? Not enough for us to try and stall him. 4, 8, 9. Not even close, and they still haven't played a switch. Yeah, I think we lost. Alright. That was pretty rough. I think you'll agree. Let's go for a third game. Anyone who's played the greens build of Blacephalon does know that it's quite fragile in its own right. So we were basically a greens Blacephalon in that game without greens because we couldn't draw cards. Hey, a turn 1 supporter. Poggers. We can play the game. probably up against a Malamar deck anyway, so we'll just lose. We'll see. Hell yeah. Man, this has gone poorly. I was streaming some of this 2 days ago. It seemed better. Like, even the first game where we won, we were pretty much backs against the wall, right? Every game we've had a bad start. Like, none of the games so far we've been able to Elm turn 1. And then, like, the time we are with a good hand, it's a matchup that's just really bad for us. Like, spell-tagged Mew just beats the deck immediately, basically. They play Tantalizers in their deck. They don't want to lose to Pidgeotto, I guess. Welder's not a bad draw. Have prized 2 energy cards. It's important to look at energy prized for Blazer. Not that that's an option for us currently, but... we could pivot for another Stellar Wish if I wanted to. They're probably not killing the Jirachis though, and giving him even more free health, or like free kills, sounds pretty bad. So I should probably get rid of the custom catcher here. Heatran is in the deck, so again, attaching to random stuff is kind of allowed. We'll pass it over. As long as they're able to move Jirachi, it's a scary turn for us. They're going to go for a Stellar Wish. Grab a Cynthia. And they're just going to go ahead and play that. I see some treasures. Getting rid of a Psychic, always a good treasure. They're going to grab another Mally. Wow, they missed switching card, which is nuts. They weren't asleep at the start of the turn, so they could have even gone for a pay retreat play on the Jirachi. That's a big bailout for us. Saved us 70 damage, basically. You're gonna need 1 energy with weakness. Stellar Wish. We'll take the lead, I guess. I'm still not hopeful about our chances, but more hopeful than the turn before. Opponent's going to go for the Erica for 5. There's a Jirachi. So Power Plant, which is fine, not a problem. See a Pokémon. Throw in another Inkay. I think it's time for the Giratina to start coming. Here he is. He's just going to hit the board rather than Distortion Door, which is also good for us. Just going to see that Psy Power. I imagine it's going towards Pidgeotto. Yep. Well, in times like this, you just make another one. Don't think we really need the Ultra Space too much. We can just do this. Then play the Welder, then get as many airmails in as we can, real quick. Now I might as well replace Stadium while we're here. Take a Blown out. Don't really have any good discards for the Flint, so we'll put that to the bottom. That's a good card for us. This is where you'll start seeing them make a comeback. It's really down to how many spell tags they can find. I still think we're very much behind in this game. He did miss one Psy Power turn, which is really good for us, but I still have to say that we're pretty behind. We're only like one prize up, and I imagine spell tags will get them back towards that state at some point later on. Like, this is them basically leveling it up if they want to, which they are gonna do. I feel like they could have weighted it differently. They didn't have to take the prize just now, unless they were missing like a pivot for Jirachi. So maybe they needed the card immediately, but they could have just set it up, because they only need to kill 2 Pidgeottos to be ahead of us the entire game, so who knows. We're just hoping they don't play many spell tags, or can't access many spell tags. They're playing custom catcher build. Which can knock out even more of our Pidgeottos, which is scary. We're going to see the first Psychic Recharge. We are going to see customs. I'm going to try and take out Jirachi, take out every part of our draw engine by the looks of things. I'm going to see that switch. See the stamp as well. Mali has space for stamps these days, apparently. See another Giratina. Once again, not Distortion Dooring. Just putting it down raw. They do find themselves an energy off the Lily for 4. Would have been crazy lucky for him to miss it. He should probably not put the damage on his active. Well, we draw a crystal, so we can at least do that. We also draw an elm, so I can draw another... get another Pidgeotto out. Which is good. Because as much as they are free prizes for the opponent, our deck doesn't work if we can't keep drawing. Fire crystals are very important for us. Welders are also important for us. That was pretty good 2 airmails, I have to say. Do I need to put down this third Blown? How many stamps are we assuming they play? Probably not more than one, right? Maybe they just played a random one. I think I should probably put another Blound down. But I obviously can't welder to it. Just for stamp reasons. Alright. Go for that big smack. We just need to dodge a couple more turns of spell tag. We won't lose outright to just Distortion Door damage. We do have one Gust available as well, don't forget. We used one custom catcher earlier, right? So we have one Gust to get around a spell tag for a turn. So it's whether that's enough. They're going to pick up a Cynthia off the Stillowish. That's a Sableye, which is basically another Mew. They don't have a guaranteed way of switching. They just had to shuffle in and hope. They've had a couple supporter prey turns. This would be insane if we could get it off. Him using Sableye is super good for us. I guess SBDO can do some shenanigans, but so can Distortion Door in general. I feel like they're probably better off just hitting the face and making me find more welders. It basically makes me find even more energy cards, right? Like if he takes knockouts on the Blacephalons, I have to recover 6 energy, really, because I need to power up my next Blound and have enough to knock out the active. Oh, they missed. Okay, okay, we can win. We're able to win the game now. How exciting! That's definitely something I want to get into the hand. I want to try and find a Fiery Flint. If we can find a Flint, I can start thinning some of these Elms. Pog. Happy days. Thin these cards. We don't need them. We can just give it the circus. We do also have a Victini Prism in here somewhere. There he is. Alright, I'm pretty confident we win now. Spell tags probably can't catch him up enough, especially because we have custom catcher. Maybe SBDO can do enough. Oh, there's a Tina Chomp. That's not an SBDO. Let's see a treasure. Getting rid of another Psychic. We have 4 in the discard. It would be 5. It would be 7 in the discard. We still have a bunch of Fire Crystals left. We only played 1 so far. So if we don't get stamped, we can win next turn. So we have 9. We have 8 cards in deck. If we don't draw Welder, we'd have 7 cards in deck. So I'm pretty sure we're guaranteed to just airmail our way to win here. Oh, that's already game, right? Who needs airmail? We're just there. Well, we got away with one. This is an easier Mally matchup than most, I guess. Yeah, we're definitely a lot more afraid of more spell tags, and obviously Espeon Deoxys as a finisher can definitely clean up on us, but that was a pretty interesting 3 games. It feels like in all the games we didn't get... I think this the last game was the one where we got super well set up. I think in the first game we were clutching at straws for a couple turns, but they then did like just enough to get up trades. And against the Mewtwo, we didn't get going at all. So there's still something to be said about consistency here. It still does feel like it's lacking a little bit of juice in certain cases. I've thought about cutting out Custom Catcher completely to just add in 4th Jirachi and maybe some Acrobikes or something along those lines. But then you're not being able to uptrade as much as you would like, and it's kind of down to the will of the other decks to just sort of stop you and put annoying things in the way. So... I can definitely see why the customs are in here, so it's about trying to find space somewhere else, and that's going to be hard. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about the Bird Blounds list that we saw this weekend at Knoxville. Is it going to be a good deck going towards Paris, the last standard format tournament of this set? And can it compete in Cosmic Eclipse? I'll hear it all down below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be flip-flopping between Standard and Cosmic Eclipse decks, so stay tuned for those. Cheers.